In opposition, the now Premier Ted Baillieu demanded a royal commission into the circumstances of Carl Williams' death. I spoke to the Premier outside Government House earlier today. Well, Premier, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Josie.
In opposition, you called for a judicial inquiry into the death of Carl Williams. In government, have you changed your mind?
Well, can I just correct you slightly? What we said in opposition was that a judicial inquiry might be necessary. But we also said there are a number of inquiries underway, including obviously the court case. Now, I don't intend to preempt any of those inquiries. Corrections Victoria, the coroners, Victoria Police, and indeed any further judicial action which is taken. So we will await the outcome of those inquiries and make any decisions necessary after those.
Do the concerns that you held in opposition still stand?
Well, I think the concerns we expressed were the concerns of the wider Victorian community as to how this could have happened. Obviously those questions remain and we will await the outcome of the inquiries. I'm very clear about this. I don't intend to preempt in any way any of those inquiries.
What we do know now, though, as a result of the Matthew Johnson trial, is that Carl Williams was assisting police in the murder of Terence and Christine Hodson when he himself was killed. Just on the face of that, was enough done to protect him in prison?
Well, again, I don't want to preempt inquiries other than to simply say that clearly there was a failure at that time, and that failure had dramatic consequences. So I think it is right to ask the questions: how did this happen? How obviously it can be prevented from happening in the future? How did it happen and why did it happen?
Will you call on Corrections Victoria, the Office of Correctional Services Review and any other body that's investigating the circumstances of the death to make public their findings?
They're undertaking their inquiries. I'm not party to those inquiries, and nor do I have any sense of the detail of what they're looking into. But obviously there are some sensitive matters and some security matters. When those inquiries are complete, we'll take advice and make public what is appropriate to make public. That
could be years away, couldn't it?
Well, I would hope not. Obviously I'm not running those inquiries, I'm not conducting those investigations, but I would hope the sooner the better that those inquiries are complete and the questions that obviously remain are answered.
No guards have been punished or stood down despite failing to notice for more than half an hour that a high-value prisoner, high value because he was talking to police, had been murdered. Do you have faith in the people running our highest security prison?
Well, I do, and until such time as there is evidence to suggest otherwise, then I'm not in a position to say otherwise. And these inquiries will look at all of those matters, and I think the Corrections Commissioner has made some comment in this regard already. I don't intend to add any further comment, and when those inquiries have completed their work, we'll look at their recommendations and look at their findings and respond appropriately.
Do you have confidence in Penny Armitage?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Well, my experience of Penny Armitage is she's doing and has done a very good job.
The head of the Justice Department, she also presided over the decision to place Carl Williams, a police informer, in with a highly violent prisoner, Matthew Johnson, and also another prisoner, Tommy Ivanovic, who was actually had a relationship with the man Carl Williams was giving police information about.
Well, I appreciate the interest and I appreciate the implication behind the question, but I'm not making any assumptions about what is correct or otherwise in that regard, nor the process that was undertaken here. But I have no reason to think that Penny Armitage has done other than the right thing.
Have you spoken to her about that decision?
I haven't personally, nor would you expect me to. There are inquiries afoot, and we will await the outcome of those inquiries.
Your government has become directly involved with the police leadership scandal involving Sir Ken Jones and Simon Overland. Has that damaged your ability to talk with credibility about policing and law and order issues?
Well, again, you're making a number of assumptions there which I wouldn't accept.
You don't accept that your government has become involved in the leadership issue?
Well, you're implying a bunch of assumptions there which I don't accept. These matters have been raised in the context of an API investigation, the details of which I'm not privy to.
Your Chief of Staff, Michael Capel, and your Parliamentary Secretary for Police, Bill Tilley, have both met with Ken Jones. That's on the public record.
Well, indeed, and you'll find that that Steve Brax's Chief of Staff met regularly with senior police as well. Now, my Chief of Staff met in good faith with the then Deputy Commissioner, and he is expected to meet with public servants on a regular basis, and I don't have an issue with that. He met in good faith. Nothing came of that meeting.
Have you asked Bill Chilly, the Parliamentary Secretary for Police, directly, did he leak an email given to him confidentially by Ken Jones?
Well, again, these matters have been raised in the context of an OPI investigation.
But I'm not raising them in the context of an OPI investigation. Did you ask him about it?
Indeed, they are being raised in the context of an OPI investigation, and I don't intend to run a commentary on that.
Are you using the OPI investigation to avoid answering these questions?
Far from it. You would be rightfully critical of me if I was in any way intruding on an OPI investigation. I'm not going to do that.
You promised an anti-corruption commission. The legislation is yet to pass through Parliament. Why is it taking so long?
They're complex issues, and we have been going through the details of what the Corruption Commission, how it will be structured. We've been looking at all the all options and the other examples around the country, and that legislation will be introduced to the Parliament this year.
When do you anticipate it will actually be fully up and running?
Well, that will be subject to the Parliament, but the legislation will be introduced this year.
Ted Baillieu, thanks for your time and enjoy your grand final weekend.
Thank you, Josie.